NXT does some pretty neat stuff, but I think the thing that makes it most unique is the ability to do layering. Let's say that we've got our little widget maker here, and what this does is it makes some cubes and spheres and some stacks of that. If you want to see how that's done, you can zip back and look at the other videos. Let's say that this collection of nodes is something we really like. We want to leave it intact. We want to reuse it in another way, or we want to add additional functionality to it. This is where layering comes in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a new layer on top of this. So I'm going to create a layer above this thing. I'm just going to put on my junk drive here, and I'm going to call this variant. Okay, so I've built this variant layer. Let's go ahead and just tweak the color of this just a little bit. Cool. And now let's build a node on this layer. So in this version, the way that you target and edit is by using the pencil, and the way you target display is by using this layer stack icon. So I'm going to target and edit and display on the variant layer. I'm going to tap N to build a node. You can see now I've got a node that sits on this other layer. Now, I could just add this node into the execution chain here. And let's just do MC Polytorus with a radius of 7.5. We'll just build this torus node here in the scene, and when we execute, hopefully we'll see a torus sitting here in our scene as well. I have no idea what kind of awesome sculpture I'm making here in these demos. So if I disable this layer, or if I just don't select the layer, right, and I execute this, well, my results will be absent any of the edits or the overrides that came on that higher layer. And again, if I target this layer again, that node shows up again. Well, let's look and go back to a previous example where we want to override the spacing by changing the attribute on our scene here to change the spacing for the cubes and the spheres and the second stack of spheres. So notice that I'm targeting the edits onto my scene node, but I'm on my variant layer. So I'm adding an attribute, and this is going to be called spacing, I believe. Let's double check. Yep, spacing. And now you can see that spacing is coming, the value from spacing is now coming from the parent on the variant layer. I better give it a value, so we'll give it a spacing value of 2. And now we can see that value fall through down into all of these other nodes. So I'll go ahead and execute. And now you can see the spacing has been updated on this other layer, as well as adding the additional torus. Now we can also do other targeted overrides here. So if I go to spheres 2 and I want toruses in here, tori, kind of a small radius in here, you can see that I've targeted that override, and spheres 2 is no longer spheres 2, but it is now going to be building a torus with a radius of 0.75. So let's execute this, zip over in here, and now we can see that we've overridden that. Now if anytime I want to go back or want to look at that value sort of untouched, I can just target the original layer. Everything is sitting there untouched, and all of those things are just composited in on top. So this goes very, very deep, and we'll have to have a more complicated example to show some of those features, but this should give you a taste of what's possible below. So you've got this matrix of viewing, editing, muting, and soloing that you can utilize to target your edits and keep context of what it is that you're actually doing. A couple of other notes: you can have sibling layers, just like you can have sibling nodes. And under the hood, a layer is like a node.